Today we discuss code division multiple access. So it is a multiple access technique. So different users can access the system using the orthogonal codes assigned to them. So unlike TDM and FDM where specific time slots and frequencies are given, in code division multiple access CDMA systems, users will be given with orthogonal codes. So user data, so we are discussing here direct sequence CDMA. So in direct sequence CDMA, different users have different data to transmit. Say for ith user, transmitting data symbol or modulated symbol that depends on the constellation. XI. So how this user will transmit this data symbol or modulated symbol through CDMA system is, so ith user will be assigned with a code word something like this. So ith code, so the code word is something like this. It is a vector of code bits, or we call them as chips. So CI2 like this. So ith user is assigned with this kind of code word. So where these individual chips are nothing but ones and minus one, something like that. So depending on the code word, so the arrangement of ones and minus one will be there. So something like this. So this kind of a code word will be assigned to the ith user. What he do is that he will multiply this code word with the data symbol, and he will transmit, for example, if CI is this one, so it is something like this, XI into, so transpose operator it is, so 1 1 minus 1 1 minus 1 like this. So what he will transmit is, instead of transmitting a wide pulse of XI, something like this, instead of transmitting a wide pulse like this, having amplitude XI and duration is symbol duration TS, what he will transmit is this multiplication of code word with XI that now becomes something like this, XI. So for this example it is XI minus XI and XI minus XI like this. So before multiplication the duration of the symbol is TS. Now after multiplication the signaling interval is reduced to, so if the length is n, then this the signaling interval will be equal to TS by n. Now earlier the bandwidth of it is in baseband. In the baseband the bandwidth what we are transmitting is, so for rectangle, if we suppose it is a rectangular pulse, then the spectrum of the baseband will be a sinc function having bandwidth of 1 by Ts. Now after multiplication with the code word, now the bandwidth will be the bandwidth of the, because signaling interval is Ts by n, then the bandwidth will be, so the spectrum will be of sinc function only again, but it will be spread over a larger bandwidth, because now it is, the null will be occurred at 1 by Ts by n. So this Ts, so they are what, nothing but this is also we call it as a chip. So each code word will have how many chips is n number of chips, and number of chips. So each code word will have n number of chips, and the chip duration. So we are not talking about symbol duration, we are now talking about chip duration is TC, that is equal to Ts by n. So the spectrum of the transmitting waveform, so now we are not communicating symbols having the duration Ts. Now we are communicating the symbols, communicating the chips whose duration is Tc. So this bandwidth will be, so now the bandwidth will be 1 by Tc. So 1 by Tc is the, after multiplication of the code word, the 1 by Tc is greater than 1 by Ts by n times. So if you take the ratio of the bandwidth after multiplication of code word, so that is increased by, so the ratio of 1 by Tc to 1 by Ts, so this ratio we call it as spreading factor. Why? Because of this multiplication the spectrum got spread. So the spreading factor, and you will find this value is equal to n, because Tc is equal to Ts by n. So T 1 by Ts 1 by Ts will be cancelled, and this is the spreading factor. So in CDMA, what user will transmit is, so instead of one wider pulse, he will transmit a shorter pulses of like the shorter pulse we call it as chip. So n chips will come, he will communicate instead of one symbol. Thereby what happens is the bandwidth got increased, or the bandwidth of the transmitting waveform will get spread, and that's why the CDMA is also called as spread spectrum technique, is also called as spread spectrum systems, so SS in short. So this way the communication will take place in diode sequence CDMA, and we will analyze the performance of it in first. So first we will understand what are the types of code words, and what is the orthogonality between code words, and then we will analyze the single user performance and multi-user performance using CDMA. So coming back to the code words, so we need actually different users will be assigned with different code words. Those code words need to be orthogonal to each other. So the code word we have given like a vector, so CA bar, so ith code word is something like this. So we might have n number of code words. So the code word is given as vector like this, CA1. So CA1, CA2, all of them can be either 1 or -1 like that. So they are digital code words. And the jth code word is a vector, CJ1, CJ2, CJN. If these two codes are orthogonal, it means their dot product. If their dot product, so transpose of jth code word with CI, their dot product must be 0 if I not equal to j for orthogonality. So, and we also take a normalizing factor 1 by n, so that the dot product with the self will be equal to 1. Okay, so what is this dot product? If you write the expression for this, so a row of this with multiplying the column, you can write like this as Also denote this dot product as the cross correlation between ith code word and jth code word. And so we are expanding this dot product as in terms of summation and multiplication. So 1 by n, and somehow the length of each code word is n. So k is equal to 1 to n, and it is cjk into cik. So this is a way to calculate the dot product between the two code words. So that is what this is the cross correlation. This is a cross correlation between two code words So if these two are perfectly orthogonal, the cross correlation will become 0 if orthogonality is maintained. So otherwise it will be a non-zero quantity. Non-zero quantity. So, and we need one expression of, so we are now going to find, so if they are orthogonal then it will be 0. If they are not strictly orthogonal, then in that case we want to find two things. One is the mean value of autocorrelation, that is expectation of this one, which is equal to expectation of 1 by n cjk and cik, k is equal to 1 to n. This is equal to 1 by n, k is equal to 1 to n, and expectation of cjk. So these two are at least they are uncorrelated. So expectation of product will be equal to expectation of individual expectations, product of individual expectations, something like this. Then what is the average value of one chip? This is nothing but the average value of the jth code word kth chip, and this is the average value of the ith code word and kth chip, and the average value of one chip is actually 0. Why? Because each chip is actually alternating between 1 and -1, and over a long string of bits or chips over a long period of time, you can take this as, because they are alternating between ones and zeros, you can have equal number of ones and equal number of zeros, or more approximately same. So this will be 0. So thereby the expected value of the cross correlation function is 0. And another statistics we want to find is actually the mean square value of the cross correlation function is, which is square of it. So we will use this relation later. So that is equal to expectation of 1 by n summation of, so k equal to 1 to n cjk and cik, and actually it is whole square, but instead of doing square we will take another summation running with different variable, that is say m is equal to 1 to n cjm, the mth chip, and ith code mth chip, like this. And if you take this as 1 by n square, so if not perfectly orthogonal, they will be actually uncorrelated. So thereby, so the expectation goes actually cjk So expected value of the joint the multiplication of the chips is actually they are at least they are uncorrelated, so we can take this as expectation of Cjk into expectation of Cik into expectation of Cjm into expectation of Cim. So for all k not equal to m, it is for all k not equal to m, we can write this. We know that individual average of a chip is actually 0. So this function will be 0 if k not equal to m. So the remaining products are here of for k equal to m. If you see, this will be equal to for k equal to m. For k not equal to m, it is 0 because individual chip average is 0. So for k equal to m, it is 1 by n square. So there will be only one summation, k is equal to m. So k equal to capital M here. And it is Cj m square because k equal to m. So it will be these two multiplication will be Cj m square into and Cjk square you can take because k equal to m. And Cik square, then because Cik and Cjk are individually 1 or minus 1, the squares will be equal to 1, and this summation will be, so 1 into 1 here, and this will be, it's actually n here, so it will be n by n square, that will be equal to 1 by n. So the expected value of this, the mean square value of this cross correlation function is, it is 1 by n that we have found here. So that is, so this is about actually orthogonal chords. So the dot product has to be 0 if I not equal to j. If I equal to j, if I is equal to j, then I is equal to 1 by n, so k is equal to 1 to n Cik into Cik, because I is equal to j, so it will be Cik square, and that will be, it will be equal to 1, the product will be always 1, and thereby if I is equal to j, it will be n into 1 by n, that will be equal to 1. So this is a correlation with the self code, that will be equal to 1. Actually, to maintain this value is 1, so this normalizing factor 1 by n is attached with this cross correlation function like this. So what are the types of orthogonal chords available to us? We'll just list out here. So one is widely used is Walsh Hadamard chords. So it is something like a matrix. So the H2 matrix is equal to, you can write as, or H2n you can write, H2n is equal to, so it is a 2n by 2n matrix, and it will be n by n matrix. So one can get H2n in a recursive fashion like this, minus Hn. So actually H2 is defined as, or H1 is defined as 1. So H2 will be equal to 1, 1, using this equation it will be 1 minus 1. You can also find H4 here from here. H4 is equal to, so H2 and H2 minus H2. So this will be a 4 by 4 matrix. So this is H2 and this is also H2 and this is H2 and this is minus H2. So each row of the Hadamard, Walsh-Hadamard matrix is an orthogonal chord. If you can check out, So if you evaluate the dot product of the between the rows, you will find the 0 value, and you can find the dot product with the self, you will find the value 1. So each row of a Hadamard matrix, Walsh Hadamard matrix, is an orthogonal code that can be used for CDMA purpose, which is actually used in the 2G standard IS 95. So this kind of method is used in 2G standard IS 95 for the code word length of 64, and it is also this matrix is also used in 3G standard, that is WCDMA. Actually in WCDMA there are variable lengths are there. Okay, so if you want the code word length of n, so using Hadamard codes, how many orthogonal codes you can generate is n only, because it is n by n matrix. If you want of length n, so you will be having only n number of orthogonal codes. So with length n, for length n, you will get n number of orthogonal codes with Walsh Hadamard. Similarly, there are other types also there. So something like maximal length sequences also can be used. So maximal length sequences, which are also called as M sequences, maximal length sequences. So using linear feedback shift registers, one can realize a periodic sequence. So each period will have an orthogonal. So each period, the period is the number, the bits sequence in the period is what actually corresponds to an orthogonal code. So similarly, like maximal length sequences, they also present gold codes. So it is a combination of maximal length sequences one can produce orthogonal codes, which are called as actually gold codes. Similarly, PN sequences also can be used. Pseudo noise sequences can also be used. As orthogonal codes. So actually the selection of orthogonal codes depends on two properties. One is autocorrelation properties and cross correlation property. So these two properties must be satisfied for the, so autocorrelation property means the dot product with the shifted sequence, say for example ith code word, the dot product with the shifted sequence, for example say Ci plus k. If you shift the code word by k number of chips, circular shift, it is circular shift. So circular shift, if you give circular shift of k times, then take the dot product. If it is equal to 0, it means the autocorrelation property, this is the autocorrelation, it is actually autocorrelation evaluated at the lag k. So the shifted sequence should be orthogonal to each other. So then that is what, that will be having good autocorrelation properties. The cross correlation is both cross correlation and autocorrelation you can write like this as 1 by n Cj transpose dot product of, so Ci, so not plus k like this, so something like this. Cj shifted by say k number of chips. So an orthogonal code word should be orthogonal to its own shifted sequence, or it should be orthogonal to other code words. So if it is orthogonal to other code words, it is satisfied the cross correlation property. If it is orthogonal to the self code with the shifted sequence, the shifts, so it will be satisfying the orthogonal property. So the selection of orthogonal codes must be satisfying these two properties to have CDMA communication. Coming to now, so we have discussed about the codes and actually the multiplication of code. So we will now talk about the single user scenario. So when in the system only one user is present, how with CDMA we can recover the transmitted symbol is. That is, say for example, there is a base station and there is a user, and user is assigned with the code word say CI, say ith user is there, and you want to transmit the data symbol XI, and there is no other user present here, and assuming the flat fading channel and having coefficient say HI. So for each data symbol or for each modulated symbol, for each modulated symbol XI, so we are talking about uplink. You can also extend discussion for downlink also. For each modulated symbol XI, the user will be transmitting n number of chips. What are those is? That is nothing but the symbol is multiplied with the code, that is CI1, CI2 like this up to CIN, and at the receiver there will be antenna and superheterodyne receiver. Superheterodyne receiver, and there will be matched filter, and output of matched filter will be sampled, and these samples will be, so we will not talk about it at this point. So user will be communicating n number of chips, and we will be collecting n number of chips at the output. So those are actually y bar is equal to, so y1 is the received sample corresponding to the first chip of the transmitted data, chip, and y2 is the corresponding to the second chip of transmitted. Like that, after sampler we will take how many chips, so n number of chips we will take. What is y1 is actually during first chip, so y1 is nothing but transmitted symbol is XI CI1, and channel coefficient is HI. So between the channel coefficient between user and the base station HI only, and plus the noise sample, that is what, N1. Similarly, Y2 is nothing but HI and XI, and second chip is what, CI2 plus N2. Like this you will collect how many n chips. So each chip is having same channel coefficient and data symbol will be same, and chip only will be varying. So CIN plus noise will also be varying like this, and that is equal to, actually you can also write this in terms of vector format. This has HI into XI, so CI vector CI bar. So we can also write this like this. So it is CI1, CI2 up to CIN, plus the noise vector. You can write this as n1, n2 up to nn, like this. So this is equal to so you can so this is nothing but the code vector, ith code vector, and this is we call this as noise vector, so n bar. So in vector form we can write the received n number of chips as hi into xi, and it is ci bar plus n bar. So what we do at the receiver, the receiver want to pick up the ith symbol, so they will multiply, means they will take the dot product with what, ci here, and means taking dot product means we will do multiplication and summation. So if we do, you should get here the estimate for the transmitted symbol. So what we do at the receiver is, this will be multiplied with the, so this is called despreading, means multiplying with the means taking dot product with this code, whatever the code word is used for transmission, same code word is used here to take the dot product here. So that is nothing but what, or the estimate of the transmitted symbol. If you analyze this, this is nothing but, so it is a scalar because y is n by 1 matrix and it is a 1 by n matrix. So multiplication will give us what, a scalar quantity, that is the estimate for the transmitted symbol. What is this is, this is equal to, in terms of a vector format, so multiplying, so substituting this y value here, so what we get here is xi is equal to hi xi 1 by n ci transpose into dot product with ci plus 1 by n ci transpose into the noise vector. So if you see this one, so this is nothing but the correlation with the self code. This value is here I equal to j, so this value is 1. Then the estimate is actually having two components, hi into xi plus this will also be a scalar because it is 1 by n and it is n by 1 and this is 1 by n. So it's a scalar that we will write it as n tilde. So now what happens is, this after taking dot product, this will be applied to the maximum likelihood detector. It will be applied to the maximum likelihood detector to get the so bit sequence what was transmitted with xi. Okay. So now if you see, so what is the, so before that also what we do is actually we will do we will remove the unknown phase here because we're using channel estimation techniques. And if you see this is the signal component and this is the noise component. This is scalar, and if you see this is nothing but 1 by n. So expanding this, you will get what actually here is Cik into Nk, k is equal to 1 to n, and these Nks are zero mean Gaussian random variables with variance is n naught, and you can prove that the expectation of mod n square is equal to expectation of, so we will do it here separately. So this signal part and this is the noise part. We are now finding the the noise power. The noise power is expectation of mod n tilde square, which is equal to expectation of n into n conjugate, which is equal to 1 by n square. So we are expanding that summation k is equal to 1 to n, Another one will take m equal to 1 to n, and Cik and Cim, and expectation of nk into nm conjugate. So actually the noise samples are uncorrelated, and they have zero mean. So if k not equal to m, this value will be equal to 0, and so the summation will be reduced for only k equal to m, then it is 1 by n square into summation of k is equal to 1 to m, and Cik square it is, so k is equal to m, so it will be Cik square, and into, so expectation of mod nk square. So this will be equal to, so since this is equal to n naught and this is equal to 1, and you will get here it is n naught by n. So if you observe the received symbol after despreading, means after multiplying the code word the receiver, that is nothing but hi mod hi into transmitted symbol plus some noise component whose noise power is not n naught, is now n naught by n. So here if you compare with the flat fading channel noise performance, if you compare this with the noise performance of flat fading channel, there we also get the similar kind, there is mod h into x plus noise, where noise was having the variance of n naught, but in this single user CMS system the noise is having n naught by n. Thereby if I find out the SNR, say that is instantaneous SNR, if I find, it will be mod h square hi square, that is the power of this one, so that is expectation of mod xi square divided by, this is the power of the signal part and the power of the noise part is n naught by n, so which is equal to, so this is the received symbol energy, say that is ei, then it is mod hi square into n times ei by n naught. So earlier we had with the flat fading channel noise performance of CISO communication, single input single output system, if you have observed, so there we get what, only here we get only mod h square into e by n naught, but here we got what, n times the e by n naught. So earlier for CISO communication, the bit error rate performance we have seen, the average bit error rate was given for Rayleigh fading is 1 by 2 1 minus square root of SNR divided by 2 plus SNR for QPSK modulation, for QPSK. So for this CDMA system, it reduces to this kind of, for CDMA system after despreading, so the equation is reduced to the a flat fading channel, that is h into hi into mod hi into xi, so this is the xi estimate plus n tilde. So there the SNR was n times the e by n naught, so es by n naught. So we can, so the bit error rate performance of the CDMA system will be just, which is n times the, so it is the SNR of the CDMA system, say SNR dash, it will be n times the SNR of the CISO communication. So the bit error rate will be for CDMA system of single user case, it will be 1 by 2 1 minus square root of n times the SNR, means es by n naught, because noise is reduced by n factor n. So thereby we can multiply n with the SNR in the expression of average bit error rate for Rayleigh flat fading channel. So because here SNR is improved by n number of times, so this is called as processing gain with CDMA, so that is Pg is equal to n. So if you want to find the bit rate performance of the CDMA system, you can use the same expression we used for Rayleigh flat feeding channel, but the SNR is here, what the change is, what SNR is multiplied by the number n. So we stop the discussion here. Next class we discuss the multi-user performance and rake receiver. Thank you.